So what are the top 20 best R&B albums of 2018? Y'all want my opinion? Let's go.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, 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 no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, no, no.
Yeah, what up y'all, it's your boy Bright here, the R&B Kid, and you're tuned into another episode of On the Bright Side. Well, if this is your first time on my channel, please go ahead and consider subscribing, because on this channel I talk all things music and entertainment while keeping it real, always trying to find the bright side of everything, alright? And after you hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell next to it so you can get the post notifications. Every time I post a video, you're gonna see it. Alright y'all, happy new year. Like I said in my previous videos, I know I've been gone for a minute y'all, but I'm sorry. I wanted to take some time to relax and just enjoy the holidays and decompress and, you know, take some downtime in between my grad school semesters while I still have some more free time. So I didn't really want to focus on YouTube a lot, but now I'm back again. I know I sound a little stuffy. I'm sorry, I'm sick y'all. I'm coming down from a cold like everybody else right now, so bear with me y'all. But even though I'm sick, I still want to make this video for you guys. And to start off 2019, I actually wanted to talk about my favorite albums from 2018. So I do one for pop and I do one for hip hop, and I'm doing one for R&B. So coming up on my top 20 R&B albums of 2018. Y'all ready for it? Let's get into it. Alright y'all, starting off the list at 20, we have K.T.S.E by Teyana Taylor. So this album to me would have been higher on my list if it wasn't for the fact that this album did come off as a rushed EP, and if only had it been a full album, that would have been a product of the Lauryn Hill-esque vibes that I feel like Teyana Taylor was on the brink of reaching if this album had been given the time and resources to be fully realized and fully fleshed out and properly rolled out and properly promoted. But because those things happened, this album did fall somewhat short of being the masterpiece I think it was going to be. So it would have been higher on my list, but because of those things, like I said, I'm keeping it at number 20. But K.T.S.E was still a solid album, guys. You know, Teyana Taylor's silky but husky voice over these like boom bap and old soul R&B samples is just everything. And I think people really realize years from now, you know, a while from now, how sick all the gems on this album really are. So it is what it is. But the highlights for me off this album, guys, are Gonna Love Me, Issues, Hold On, Rose in Harlem, and Never Would Have Made It. Those are my highlights. But this album was really good, y'all. So shout out to Teyana Taylor with K.T.S.E. At number 19, we got True by Lloyd. So Lloyd came through with his first album since 2011 this past year with the True album, and I think this album was amazing, guys. It flowed so well, and it was a balanced album, and all the songs just really knock. Like, all these songs knock. Really good songs, and I just wish it had more attention on it throughout the year. And I think the album cover is a shame, because I think the album cover kind of scared a lot of people away from hearing the album and wanted to check it out, which is a shame, because it really is a good album, and the songs behind this album are bomb. But it is what it is. This album to me got a lot of hits on it and a lot of R&B gems, and he's singing his ass off like always. Lloyd is a very underrated singer. He's singing his ass off. It was just a really solid, well put together project, a really solid R&B album. Highlights for me are Appreciation Day, Blown, Caramel, Excited, which to me is still my favorite like R&B songs of the past few years that nobody really heard, but it's amazing. That beat, the writing, the singing. Excited is everything. I love that song. Excited, Porcelain, that's a gem, and True, which is a great song. So all in all, guys, Lloyd's latest album is amazing. Y'all slept on it, but it is what it is. Shout out Lloyd. At number 18, we have Sex and Cigarettes by Toni Braxton. The incomparable Miss Toni Braxton is back in rare form on this album. This album is a collection of, you know, really solid, well-sung, well-written, timeless R&B ballads and mid-tempos. She doesn't really stray away from her formula, so for some people this album probably could have seemed underwhelming or boring at some points, but for me, these songs are all of quality, and they're all really well sung and well written and well performed. So it is what it is for me. My only gripe with this album is that I wish it had been longer. I wish it had at least 2 or 3 more tracks on it, and I wish it had maybe like 1 or 2 more up-tempo tracks on it to kind of balance out the vibe. But regardless, the songs that are here are really are really good, and Toni Braxton did her thing. I think she couldn't have a longer album because of label issues, I think, but for what she gave us, this was a really solid project from Toni Braxton. Grammy nominated for Best R&B Album. Shout out Toni Braxton. Yeah, great album, guys. For my highlights, I'd say my highlights are Long As I Live. That is one of my favorite R&B songs that came out all year. FOH, Fuck Outta Here, and Sorry. Those are my 3 favorite songs off the album. And Coping was also like a nice, like really like nice like surprise. Not Coping, Missing. Missing was on a nice little like dance surprise at the end too. So really solid album. Shout out Toni Braxton. At number 17, I have Village by Jacob Banks. So the Village album was a really solid album, guys. This was Jacob Banks' debut album. Jacob Banks is a really dope. I think he's from the UK, but he's Nigerian. He's a really dope like alternative R&B dude. That's just his voice is one in a million. He has a really special like husky like big voice that's just so like delicate at the same time. So his voice is special. I love his voice. He has one of those voices that's one in a million. Y'all sleep on him. But this album is his debut album. I think he really did a great job. This is a great introduction for him to the world. I really love Jacob Banks' like alternative and abstract vibe, but also like accessible vibe. You know, his music is very accessible, even though it can be like alternative and abstract, mixed in beautifully with R&B and some other elements as well. So it's a really solid album. A lot of really dope themes around like love and relationships, family, adulthood and growing up and letting you know where you're from and all that stuff. A lot of really well written and constructed songs throughout this album, so it's a really solid listen from start to finish. I don't think there's one track on the album that I didn't like, so it's a really solid album. I really went under the radar this year, but I wanted to highlight it because it's a great project. Highlights for me, I say our Chainsmoking, which has been a song that's been out for a while now. It's an amazing song. Love Ain't Enough. Grown Up is a great track as well. Keeps Me Going is a nice track that has a lot of African like Nigerian vibes that I love and I can just relate to. Talking about, you know, the people that you like that keep you going, your family, your friends, all that stuff. Be Good To Me is a great gem. I love that song. And Unknown To You, which is the single that came off the album last year, is a great ballad. This dude can sing his ass off. His voice is amazing, and y'all need to stop sleep on him. Jacob Banks is someone y'all need to check into. So Village is in my number 17 spot. Shout out Jacob Banks. At number 16, we have Caution by Mariah Carey. So this one kind of surprised me by how high it was on my list, especially because the singles that Mariah Carey was putting out earlier this year, you know, Get the Fuck Out and With You, I just thought were like really boring. I wasn't feeling them at all. And when the album came out, when I first heard it, I wasn't really feeling it. But after I kind of listened to it the second time, I got more into it. I realized that it's actually a really good album. So it's a surprisingly really good set of songs, especially after multiple listens and after you really get into them. Really good songs, and they all flow together really well, and they're all really made well. This album is a great mix of ballads, mid-tempos, and a few up-tempos to kind of keep it all fresh and keep it all really balanced. And it's all classic Mariah Carey, but it doesn't sound too dated and it doesn't sound corny, so it just works. All these songs, they all sound like classic Mariah songs from the 90s and 2000s, but they have a fresh spin on them, and they all sound really current and just fresh. So it's a really good album, guys. Highlights for me are I say a No, The Distance, I love that track, Giving Me Life, One More Again, and Stay Long, Love You. And even though this wasn't really like a highlight, Portrait is a beautiful song, so shout out to Mariah. It's a beautiful written song. This is a really good album, y'all. Shout out to Mariah Carey with Caution. And I'm hoping that the rumor is true that she's getting together the remix of a No with Cardi B and Lil' Kim. I hope that's true, because if that's true, that'll be dope. I hope to see that this year. At number 15, I have No Rain, No Flowers by Sabrina Claudio. This No Rain, No Flowers album to me was an exquisitely made like reflection album on her journey thus far and her past mistakes and her insecurities over like Sublime Records. This really was like a really dope concept album that was really fleshed out and really executed well. And I feel like we should look at this album as somewhat of like an apology album, or just an apology and a statement that she's really ready to be more open and to learn. And I love that with this album, she's showing that she's not running from her past mistakes. She's not running from, you know, whatever she did in the past, her transgressions in the past, and she's accepting them and she's confronting them and ready to move forward and to be better and to learn and just to be better. I love Sabrina Claudio's sound. I feel like her sound and her vision is so dope, and I feel like she's one of the best like upcoming talents in R&B. And I feel like we have to keep her around. We have to uplift her because the music is too good. I feel like she will mean too much to R&B for us to just let her go and cancel her because of some dumb tweets that were, you know, dug up from years ago when she was a young kid. Y'all are so quick to cancel somebody. In this current culture, we're so quick to cancel somebody, but it's like y'all act like half y'all haven't made haven't made job mistakes when you were younger or had wayward views when you were, you know, your younger self. I think it's not, to me, this Sabrina Claudio situation wasn't that deep, and I feel like I commend an artist who is head on facing her past drama and not avoiding it, not playing it up, not trying to like, you know, jump around it, but really like addressing it head on with amazing music to back up, you know, her new journey. And that's what this album was for me. No Rain No Flowers to me was one of the albums that really kind of came and went in 2018, but it was so amazing from the first time I heard it up until now. It's a great project, man. So it's just a great project from Sabrina Claudio. She's a gem in R&B. We can't lose her. Her voice and her sound and her vibe is so like modern Sade. It's not even funny. So highlights for me off this No Rain No Flowers album, I'd say are Cycle, Creation, Numb, and Messages from Her. All around solid projects from Sabrina Claudio. I'm so proud of her, and I'm ready for all of us to move on with this bullshit from her. She's moved on. I think we not that, but I moved on. I think we all should too. She was young when she did all that shit. She's a grown woman now. I don't think it's that deep. But y'all let me know what y'all think about Sabrina Claudio and this album down below. At number 14, I have the R.O.S.E album by Jessie J, who quietly in the last few years became one of the best R&B singers out. Even though Jessie J started as a pop artist, she's always wanted to do R&B, and she's finally transitioned to now doing R&B music, and she's killing it. And with the R.O.S.E album, I think she put out one of the most slept on projects of 2018. You probably even know what came out. So Jessie J put out an album called R.O.S.E, and it stands for Realizations, Obsessions, Sex, and Empowerment. And the rollout was kind of creative. She rolled out the album by kind of releasing it as 4 small EPs, with each EP being under each letter of R.O.S.E. So it was really cool and creative rollout. But I do think the rollout was somewhat of a disservice to the album, because a lot of people didn't really realize it was an album. It was kind of just like a lot of small EPs that just kind of came and went. So I think the rollout, like I said, it was creative, but I think it kind of was a disservice to her project as a whole. But I really did appreciate how creative it was. But yeah, man, this album was pretty much mostly produced by DJ Camper, and I think her and DJ Camper really zoned in and just came out with a timeless, consistent, and resonant, amazing R&B project that, like I said, I think was definitely one of the best projects of the year and just very slept on. But this album was amazing, guys. Jessie J was really in her bag with this album. Highlights for me include Think About That, Dopamine, Real Deal. I love that song. That was my Bright Side Mix Volume 1. Petty, 4-Letter Word is a beautiful song about her wanting to be a mother. One Night Lover is a dope track. Yeah, man, just honestly, this album is consistently good from start to finish, and such a solid project. So shout out to Jessie J with the R.O.S.E album. A great album. At number 13, we have Platinum Fire by Arin Ray. You know, to me, Platinum Fire was a solid debut album from the kid. I think Arin Ray is a great talent in male R&B right now. He's a fresh talent. I really feel like this album was just filled with amazing grooves and songs that really harken back to traditional R&B in terms of like the vibe and the arrangements of the songs, but like they were still infused with enough new school flair that the album still, you know, sounded fresh, and I really feel like that made it a highlight for me in male R&B this year, just for that fact. So even though this album really went under the radar, I feel like it was one of my favorite, like personally, like favorite releases in male R&B this year. Arin Ray, I think, has so much potential. He's a great talent. He makes great songs. He's a good singer. You can tell that he's hungry too. So he has so much potential that I can't wait to see where he goes from here. But his debut album was a great album for this year. I say highlights for me are the first track, Sometime Ass Nigga, With or Without, Take with Ty Dolla $ign, We Ain't Homies. I love that track. That's my Bright Side Mix Volume 1. And also Hit Me Up with Childish Major, and Fuck Y'all with Sir, and Platinum Fire with Terrace Martin. Those are my favorite tracks off the album, but definitely a solid album from R&B, so shout out to you, man. At number 12, we have another debut album, and that is Lost and Found by Jorja Smith. So Lost and Found to me was another beautiful debut album from somebody in 2018, from someone who I feel like can be one of our future greats. Jorja Smith, in terms of her look, her voice, her sound, her music, it's just you know, the whole package. She's one in a million to me, and I really feel like her music and her vibe is timeless and it's classic and it's sophisticated, while still appealing to younger listeners as well, and younger people. So yeah, this album was amazing, guys. It was filled with songs about, you know, growing and finding out who you are and growing into who you are and finding yourself, relationships, and just all that. So I think this album is gonna be a great foundation for a great career for Jorja Smith. You know, she's not really been making that much of a wave in the US. She's from the UK, but I really do hope that she finds her footing at some point, because y'all need to stop sleeping, because Jorja Smith is it. She's nominated for Best New Artist at the Grammys, which is great. She's nominated for that, but y'all are still sleeping. So get hip to Jorja Smith. Her album is amazing, and to me, definitely one of the better albums that came out last year. Highlights for me include Teenage Fantasy, Where Did I Go, February 3rd. I love that track. That was my Bright Mix Volume 5. Go check that out. I love February 3rd. I love that song. Wandering Romance. I love that song. Blue Lights is another dope song. That's also my Bright Mix Volume 5. Lifeboats Freestyle. She spilled a little rap in that track, which was dope. And also Goodbyes. So yeah, this is a really balanced, well put together album. Great singing from Jorja Smith. So shout out to you, mama. Okay, at number 11, we have November by Sir. This album was great, guys. It took me a couple listens to actually get into the album. When I first heard it, I wasn't really feeling it, but with more time and more listens, this album really showcased itself to be one of the best ones of the year. It really is a solid project. It filled with songs that just bang. Like, these songs all bang, and the production is beautiful. And the vibe to me is like nothing else that's out right now in R&B, which is what I appreciate about November. I feel like Sir just gives off a vibe and a vocal style and a lyrical approach that's just different from everybody else in R&B right now, so he stands out from the pack. This November album is solid. It really came and went at the beginning of the year in January, but solid album. Highlights for me are That's Alright, Something Foreign with Schoolboy Q, The Evils. That's been a smoker's anthem all year. Shout out to anybody who smokes, because that should be an anthem for you. Anybody who smokes, go check out The Evils. That's a great song for anybody who smokes. Something New, I love that song. I put it on my Bright Mix Volume 4. Love that track. And also War and Summer November. Consistently good album from start to finish. Such a weird album, but the concept just kind of you know, came together, and it was just a dope project. So definitely go check out November if you haven't heard it already. Okay, guys, at number 10, I have Silk Canvas by VanJess. I love VanJess. They're Nigerian like me. I love them. I love their sound. To me, like, this whole Silk Canvas album was a whole, like, slinky, late night, sultry, groovy R&B vibe from start to finish. I just love their sound. And I feel like it harkens back to like 90s and 2000s R&B with like a sheen of like modern, dark, and slinky like dance and like house vibes mixed in. So it's a really cool mixture of like old school R&B with, like, you know, dance and EDM house vibes in the mix as well. So it's a really cool mix. It's a really dope sound that they have. There's no filler on this album, and it's consistently good from start to finish. Just great grooves and great songs. It's just a vibe. So highlights for me off this album, I say, are My Love, Control Me, Touch the Floor with Masego coming up next, and Filters, Addicted, Through Enough with Gold Link. I love that song. Through Enough is amazing. Another Lover. I'm listening to that song on repeat right now. It's probably gonna be on my Bright Mix Volume 8. And Till the Morning and Easy. Those are my favorite tracks off the album, hands down. So definitely go check out this album if you haven't already. You're gonna love this album, trust me. Okay, now at number 9, we have Lady Lady by Masego. Lady Lady is one of my personal favorite albums of the year, but I'm gonna keep it at number 9. This dude's approach is so fresh and effortless to me, and I feel like you know, his vibe was like a much needed, like, romantic, yet savage vibe that I feel like is really needed in male R&B right now. Like, we need that male R&B singer that's like sweet and romantic, but also kind of savage at the same time. So we need that. And I feel like we don't really have that. It's either like one or the other, but I feel like we don't have a lot of artists that kind of like doing both at the same time. So I love that he brought that vibe on this album. And his production skills and his saxophone skills are A1. He produced most of the, I want to say he produced all these tracks, and he plays saxophone, and his talent is just crazy. Like, what he can do on that sax is just wow. He's great on the sax, and this album just rocked from start to finish, y'all. This is a great album, timeless as hell. A lot of timeless songs in here. I love how a lot of these songs are really harking back to traditional R&B in terms of the sound, but with like fresh and like abstract ideas and melodies and arrangements, and like, you know, vocal arrangements and, you know, and vocal patterns. So it was a really cool album in that sense. So this album was really different, and it stood up from the pack. With the saxophone sound and just like the really creative, like lyrical things he came up with and the way he arranged everything. But it's a really dope album. Highlights for me, I'd say, are I Had a Vision, Lavish Lullaby, Old Age, Queen Tings, Black Love, and Tadao. I love Tadao. But this whole album is rocking, y'all. It's just I want to say this album is like a love letter to not only women, especially black women, but also to black love. You can really see that from the album. It's just a really good album that I feel like is gonna be like a modern classic in my opinion. It really went under the radar. Not a lot of people really know about Masego, but definitely go check him out. You will not regret it. He's amazing. At number 8, we have Saturn by Naio. A great sublime album, guys. To me, Saturn was one of the most like eclectic and original R&B projects of the year. This album is really special. I feel like it has a lot of themes revolving around like rebirth and like learning lessons and making mistakes, but also starting over in life. Naio's voice is so unique. It's so special. It's a really weird and quirky voice, but it's really resonant. And I just love how there's so many different vibes on this album. She has like some Afrobeat type songs. She has songs that have elements of like, you know, throwback, old school soul and like jazz. And then she has some like futuristic R&B, EDM type tracks here as well. So it's a lot of different vibes on this album, but it all flows together and comes together really well. And it's a solid listen with hella replay value too. This album literally made no impact this year. I don't think it even charted on the Billboard 200, and none of the songs made any impact all year at all, which is such a shame because it's one of the most beautiful and one of the most, I think, sophisticated and like just one of the most like accomplished R&B albums of the year, and nobody really paid attention to it, which is sad. But I definitely want to give Naio a shout out because this album is simply divine and it's sublime. Highlights for me include Make It Out Alive. Another Lifetime is cool as well. If You Ever. I like the track with Black too. I wish the version with Black was on the album, but it is what it is. Gabriel, Orbit, Driver Disconnect, which I've been having on replay consistently. I'll probably put on my Bright Semis Volume 8, and Yellow of the Sun. But this album was just a vibe from start to finish, y'all. Naio is really a gem, and I can't wait to see where she goes from here. But Saturn is a great project, so definitely go check it out. At number 7, we have East Atlanta Love Letter by Black. I really feel like everything Black touches is just gold. Everything he does is amazing, and this second album is a great addition to his catalog, and it's filled with songs that are reflecting on his life and his relationships, his worries, his aspirations, his mistakes, all that and more, in the form of love letters. And the sonic vibes and his rap song flow throughout this album are just A1. And his lyricism and his approach to making records are so special and unique, and so smart that you feel everything that he's saying. It really connects to you. So I love Black, and I love this album. It's definitely one of my personal favorite albums of the year. Really a triumph, and I just love how he put everything together, and I love how he really executed it. It was a really great album. Highlights for me include, I'd probably say Loaded Gun, East Atlanta Love Letter. I love that song. I put it in my Bright Semis Volume 7. Go check out that video. I love that song. Let Her Go, I say as well. Let's see. Sorry, like all these tracks are really good. Pretty Little Fears with J. Cole is a great track. Disconnect, Switch, Balenciaga Challenge, Scripture. This whole album is really on point, y'all. So shout out to Black. Definitely deserves a spot on this list. At number 6, we have Hive Mind by The Internet. This really was a sublime album from the group. Impeccable production and grooves throughout. Whereas last time on their last album, Ego Death, they really focused more on electronic and abstract production and vibes. This album really focused more on classic instrumentation and tight R&B grooves and melodies that really allowed more of the group members to really shine and do their thing on the album compared to Ego Death. So I like that they really focused in on more of that. And also, I really feel like this album really was just a nice eclectic collection of really well-written songs that really really touched on a lot of different things. A lot of these songs were really romantic and really like just cute, whatever, but then a lot of them like really address some deep things, like Come Together, It Gets Better With Time, Humble Pie. So really good album. I really feel like this album, I really wish it had more attention on it throughout the year. I feel like it just came and went. It definitely should have more attention on it throughout the year. And I'm still mad it wasn't nominated for Best R&B Album at the Grammys. That was a major snub for me, but it is what it is. Highlights from this album include Come Together, Roll, Burbank Funk, La Di Da, It Gets Better With Time, Look What You Started, and Hold On. Shout out to The Internet for an amazing album. At number 5, we have Ella Mai with Ella Mai. Man, this Ella Mai album, y'all, this Ella Mai self-titled debut album was my favorite R&B moments of 2018. I'm telling you, man. Ella Mai is still dry as hell live. We still need to work on that with her. She's dry as fuck live. But man, can she make a record. She could make a song. This album was so consistent and enjoyable from start to finish. Solid jams, and she proved that she's not a 1 or 2 hit wonder like a lot of people probably think she is, because she has plenty of other hits on this album that are waiting to be released and waiting to be given love with the single treatment, because there's so many songs on this album that could really be hits. So she showed that with this album, so shout out to Ella Mai for that. I really feel like this album to me was somewhat of the R&B equivalent of Invasion of Privacy, whereas it was the album coming from a new artist. A lot of people kind of are writing off after like 1 or 2 big songs, but they didn't think she could really come out with a good album. That was Cardi B for rap, and I think for R&B that was Ella Mai, and she proved us all wrong with this amazing album that really she just knocked it out the park with good songs from start to finish. I don't know, this album, guys, I love this one because I feel like it really had a lot of replay value. I constantly replay a lot of songs off this album all the time, compared to probably most of the other songs off this list. So shout out to Ella Mai for that. Constant replay value for this album, a high replay value. And I really feel like the album was just sequenced and produced so well. DJ Mustard did his thing with production on a lot of the songs. She has some other producers that actually produced some of my favorite songs off the album, like Harmony Samuels and Brian Michael Cox and Nana Rogues. But for the most part, her and DJ Mustard really put together this album really well, and it's sequenced in an amazing way. And it was also just really nice to see an R&B album really make some mainstream noise this year. Like, it was probably one of the only albums on this list that actually was consistently on the charts and really made a lot of noise commercially this year. So shout out to Ella Mai for that. But I love this album, y'all. I love this album. It's a whole vibe. My highlights off this album, my favorites off this album, I'll probably say are definitely Good Bad, Dangerous, Sauce, Cheap Shot, I love Cheap Shot, Shot Clock, Run My Mouth, Boot Up by Default, Run My Mouth, Gut Feeling by her is a gem. Oh, that's a gem. That's a classic R&B song. Trip by Default, but I do love that song though. And also Close is a great song. Yeah, so all in all, y'all, Ella Mai's album was popping. If you've not checked it out already, I don't know what you're doing or where you are, but go listen to the album. It's R&B fire. At number 4, guys, we have Isolation by Kali Uchis. I love Kali Uchis. I feel like she's a gem in the industry. Not a lot of people really know about her, but she's amazing. With this album, I think she really effortlessly showed her singular and unique artistic vision and expression. And I really feel like she can low-key be one of our modern greats with enough time and with enough attention. She has so many influences from so many genres and eras, and she mixed it all together beautifully on this album, along with her Latin flair. So it's a really dope package, and it's a really dope combination when it's all mixed together. I don't think you can really box Kylie Uchis into a genre or into a vibe. She really is so versatile, and she can really touch so many different sounds, so many different genres and vibes, but she makes it all work, and she makes it all her at the end of the day. This Isolation album was amazing. Solid and fresh songs from start to finish. Just really dope songs that really just kind of, this album kind of came out of nowhere. When I heard it, I was just like, whoa, like this chick is like, she's really dope. Like she just has a unique artistic disposition that I feel like more people need to be paying attention to. She really creates these sophisticated, rich, fresh songs that are just like different, but they just rock. So this album is amazing, guys. Highlights for me off this album, I say, are Miami, Just a Stranger with Steve Lacy, Flight 22, Your Teeth in My Neck is one of my favorite songs that came out last year. I put it on my Bright Side Mix Volume 5. It's one of my favorite songs that came out all year. That song is so deep, but it's still a bop at the same time. Let's see, Tyrant with Jorja Smith, that was a jam. Dead to Me, I love that song. Nuestro Planeta, I love that song. In My Dreams, and Tomorrow. This album is just filled with so many songs that were just really cool songs that really just like got better with time. So shout out to Kylie Uchis with her Isolation album. Amazing project. At number 3, we have Good Thing with Leon Bridges. So with this Good Thing album, he took the more 50s and 60s soul aesthetic that he had on his debut album Coming Home, and he updated it to more of like a 70s and 80s sound, mixed in with some like neo soul and more like contemporary tracks. But the results are great. This album really had a good mixture of like I said, the 70s and 80s soul vibe songs mixed in with like the neo soul songs from like the 90s, and like newer, more contemporary tracks as well. And you know, it all really mixed together in a dope to become a dope project. I really feel like this is a no skip album for sure. And not only did he show us how versatile he is on this album, but he also showed us that he showed us why he's one of the most dependable and one of the most consistently good album makers in the current male R&B climate. He definitely showed us that with his album, hands down. This is a great album, guys. Definitely one of my personal favorite albums of the year, and I wish it kind of got more attention like a lot of other albums that I put on my list. It is what it is, but this is still a great album, one of my personal favorites of the year. In terms of highlights, I probably say I love Bad News. That was one of my favorite songs that came out last year. I put it in my Bright Side Mix Volume 5. That track is amazing. It's deep, but it's also like hella groovy too at the same time. Shy is a great R&B song, timeless. Beyond as well. Beyond is a great song. I love Lions. That was really cool, like neo soul abstract track. That was really cool. I love the vibe of that track. If It Feels Good Then It Must Be is a whole jam, and I wish that was like actually like a hit single out right now, because that song is such a jam. Like, come on, that should be like at parties and weddings everywhere. That song is a jam. And also Jorja to Texas. That is a beautiful song. We're talking about, you know, his mother giving birth to him and his family life and all that stuff, his family history, from his mom and family moving from Georgia to Texas. It's a beautiful song. This album was such a beautiful album, so done well. It's old school R&B, but it's fresh and new at the same time. It's just a dope project. So if you're not checked out Good Thing by Leon Bridges, go check it out. You're doing yourself a disservice. Amazing album. At number 2, we have The Kids Are Alright by ChloexHalle. When this album first came out, I would have never thought that would have been this high on my list at this point in the year, but it definitely is. The Kids Are Alright is probably one of the most original and forward-thinking and next-level projects, R&B projects of 2018. These girls are not playing games. If you don't know who ChloexHalle are, they are signed to Beyonce's label Parkwood Entertainment through Columbia Records. They're pretty much like her latest proteges, with good reason, because honestly I really feel like these girls are next level. Their vocals, their harmonies, their arrangements, and the fact that they self-produced this album. They produced most of this album. At least I think Chloe did, I think Chloe's the older sister, I think. I don't know what else to say about this album. It was mostly produced by them. They did all the vocals, they did all the harmonies, all the arrangements, and all the lyrics is like mostly them. Like, they put this masterpiece of an album together. These two girls that I don't think neither of them are above the age of 22, I don't think. And it's like, god damn, when these girls become grown-ass women, they're gonna be a problem. I'm telling you, they're gonna be a problem. These girls are music. They are music. Like when you think of those artists that just embody music just in their being, these girls are music. ChloexHalle are the future. I was sleeping on them when they first came out, but when this album came out, I was just like, whoa. I tuned in and I was like, I paid attention. I was like, these girls are on some next level shit. Like they're not playing games. They're not playing games. Right now, everyone's sleeping on them, but they're Grammy nominated now, which I'm glad for. They got 2 Grammy nominations that they deserve. But stop sleeping on ChloexHalle. These girls are it. This album is simply amazing. It's really a fresh album talking about kind of just being a kid and the things that the younger adults go through, our insecurities growing up, how happy we are going through stuff in life, just all types of stuff. They talked about the ways of the world on this album and where the world is at right now, and just needing to like de-stress and just fake people and relationships. They talked about all types of stuff on this album. They touched everything. And it really was a seamless, amazing body of work. So I can't say enough about this album, guys. Go check it out. My highlights for this album, even though every track is popping, I'll probably say my highlights are The Kids Are Alright, High Low, Fake, Down, Galaxy, Happy Without Me with Joey Badass. That was a great song. I love that song. That really should have been like a big hit last year, but it is what it is. Baby Bird is a cool track, and also Cool People. Like this album was just amazing. Go check it out. Alright, y'all, now for my number 1 spot, the moment y'all been waiting for my R&B albums of the year, my number 1 spot. I felt like I didn't have any issue giving it this spot, and I feel like it just made the most sense. And my number 1 R&B album of 2018 goes to Mrs. Janelle Monae with Dirty Computer. Man, Dirty Computer, not only did it drop on my birthday, or at least the day after my birthday, but even regardless of that, this album is simply one of the best albums and one of the best things that happened to 2018. Dirty Computer is such a dope collection of songs that are just talking about being an outcast, being disenfranchised, or coming from a life of being disadvantaged, being underappreciated, and pretty much being a dirty computer, which is the metaphor that was used throughout this album, and rising above adversity to claim the freedom of being yourself. And it's just such a, I mean, it's not a new message, but the way it was, expressed on this album was just so genius and so creative, and the musicality and the concepts and the diversity of the flows and the vibes on this album were just A1, so it was such a daring and impactful and memorable project, and one that I think will not only get better with time, but will also be looked back on as one of the best albums that really came out around its time. It is rightfully nominated for Album of the Year at the Grammys, which I'm so happy for. Shout out to the Grammys for doing something right. It definitely, I don't think it'll win, even though I want it to. It's not gonna win. I'm hoping it will in some type of weird place in the world, but it's probably not gonna happen. But Dirty Computer to me really was one of the, even though I didn't really revisit it a lot compared to a lot of other albums on this list, I don't revisit it a lot, but even off of first listen, second listen, third listen, whatever listen you're on, it's just such an important and beautifully constructed album, and you can't help but just to feel inspired and uplifted after listening to what she's talking about in this album. Janelle Monae's story and her disposition is such an amazing one, and I really feel like she's one of the best artists. She's literally one of the best artists of our time. A lot of people don't give her props and don't really recognize her and remember her, but she is one of the best artists of our time in terms of her albums, her live performance, her personality, her outlook. Like she's just one big ball of like talent and one big ball of like just like perfection. Like she's amazing. This album was simply sublime, and it was a completely divine achievement, not only in music but also in message together. You know, musically she killed on the album, but also message wise it was one of the most important albums of the year. Kind of like with J. Cole's KOD, to me being one of the most important albums in terms of what it was saying throughout the album. this album, I feel like, is an album anybody who's just going through shit can just put on, whether you're gay or you're disabled or you're whatever the fuck you're going through. Like, if you're someone who feels like the world is just against you, listen to this album and you'll just be like, man, fuck the world, I got this. It's just like, that's what this album will make you feel. Like, it's a dope project. Yeah, I can't say anything else more about this album, y'all. Janelle Monae, you have the R&B album of 2018 for me. Dirty Computer was an achievement. It was a triumph, and I'm so happy for you and proud of you for making this amazing body of work. So my number one spot is Janelle Monae with Dirty Computer. Alright guys, so I just want to give a shout out to two artists. These two artists were not on my list because they actually made a series of EPs instead of an album. But if you had combined both EPs together into an album, it probably would have ended up on my list. So I just want to give them a quick shout out. The first one is Her with I Used to Know Her, The Prelude, and I Used to Know Her Part 2. Those EPs came out, the first one in August and the second one in November. And if you had put both of those EPs together, it would have been a solid album from Her. So she's not on my list because they're EPs, but I just want to give her a quick shout out because those projects were amazing. And also Victoria Monet with her Life After Love Part 1 and Part 2 EPs. Victoria Monet is someone who is completely going under the radar. She does need stronger branding, but her projects, if you had put those projects together and made an album out of those two EPs, man, it probably would have been one of my favorite female R&B projects of the year. Victoria Monet just makes great music that I feel is just very underrated. So I just want to give her a quick shout out. So if you're not checked out, I know you probably checked out her music, but if you're not checked out Victoria Monet's Life After Love Part 1 and Part 2 EPs, go check them out. Consistent bops and jams from start to finish. You will not regret it. Definitely go check those. Definitely go check out those projects and let me know what you think about them down below. Alright y'all, so that was my top 20 best R&B albums of 2018. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed my list. I will have honorable mentions coming up right after this segment right here. So check out that screenshot of my honorable mentions that I didn't mention in the video. But if there are any albums that are not in my honorable mentions or that are not in my regular top 20 list, that I didn't put in this list that you think, if there are any albums that are not on either of those lists that you think should be on this list, let me know down below. I'd love to know. If I heard it but I didn't put on this list, and I guess I wasn't feeling it. But if I didn't hear it, I'd love to know what other albums you think should have been on this list that I didn't consider, okay? Let me know down below. And also, if there are any albums that were on my list that you think should not be on my list, let me know that as well, because I'd love to know. Let's get the conversation started down in the comments below, okay? I appreciate y'all. If you haven't already, hit this video with a like. If you watched this whole video and enjoyed it, hit that like button right now. Share this video and subscribe to my channel, okay? I appreciate y'all. And like I always say, guys, live your best life, drink more water, stay woke, and if you're mad or sad, go listen to your favorite song to make you feel better, okay? Go listen to your favorite song. But this has been your boy Bryce, the R&B Kid. Thank you for watching, but for now, I'm signing off, baby. Bye, y'all.
You came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. I came to vibe. You came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. Relax just a little bit. You don't gotta worry, you can just have fun.